What's going on, everybody? Another amazing episode of the Real Estate Blueprint Podcast. I am your host, Austin, aka More Than an Agent, here with my Dominicano hermano, John Soto. John does real estate. What's the word, champ? Everything well?
Everything's well. Day at a time.
Yeah.
Grind at a time.
Yeah.
Better than yesterday.
Daily grind. I'm here for it. On a larger scale, because this episode is going to be, and I know I say that for like every single episode for the most part, but I truly I truly believe that, and there's several reasons why, which we'll tap into in a second. A little bit of housekeeping. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, share. Let's just keep this movement going. So that way we're able to bring you nothing but value. That way we're able to help you in your business. Let's keep this thing moving. Today's guest, while he's no longer in New Jersey anymore, another popular figure in the real estate investing space here in New Jersey.
I appreciate that.
Very, very, very renowned on his business savviness, and now has expanded his business into bigger and better ventures, which we'll dig into in a second. Ladies and gentlemen, Anthony Lawson coming onto the podcast, the Real Estate Blueprint Podcast. Welcome, sir.
I appreciate that. Thank you for the magnificent introduction.
Well, you about to prove it, so I don't. It's not. You know what I mean? You about to prove it. It's not me. I'm just going off of the script. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Run us through. I mean, you. Obviously
Let's
we know each other.
Beginning.
Yeah.
You want to go to the very beginning?
Rough beginning.
All right, give us the because
how you got into real estate.
You can. I don't know which episode number it is, but
we did.
This is just, you know what I mean. We're just bringing you new content. Yeah. Or new quality content.
All right, give us the.
We are not relaunching the whole thing all over again.
Elevator pitch of how you started, and then we'll run into.
Anthony's on another episode already. Go check that episode out. It's already there already. But bring us up to speed. You were wholesaling before.
Yeah.
Did you close that down completely? Bring us from there.
Yeah. It's a very good question. So I still wholesale, but not on a crazy massive level like I used to. You know what I mean? Now those marketing channels is really geared to me buying deals,
Okay.
Because I was like, you know what? If I'm going to do all of this marketing and the deal may not close, let me at least market and buy something with that marketing fee, So that was really the methodology. But some deals still, because I think the term wholesaling is kind of broad if you ask me, because I'm not a wholesaler. You know what I mean? I don't wholesale, that's my title. And I think everybody should have that mindset as, hey, I'm an investor. It's just my exit strategy. So that's just me though. That's just one of the exit strategies, man. That's, if it don't work, great, give it to the next person. Or if I have too many deals on the table, then I just give it to the next person. Then, we just take it from there. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with wholesaling.
I got you. The transition wise, what was that aha moment in which you then was able to make your first step into more ownership rather than the day-to-day grind of, all right, I got this deal, I wholesaled it, now I gotta go find my next deal,
That's a good point, man. Cause if I had to look back, right, when I started doing group homes, and it actually started here in New Jersey, halfway houses, sober living, veteran homes, all that stuff started in New Jersey. So when I started selling off and I started doing JVs with no money down, I had that aha moment when I started selling off to Hasidic Jewish people. And I'm very cool with a lot of Jewish people to this day. We all still keep in touch. But I just had that aha moment. I said, man, the cash flow that I sold them, I'm working hard to find these deals. If I'm selling it off, I sold the cash flow. That's it. You one and done. But my mentality a little bit different now when it comes to cash flow and everything, because you got to have a good blended balance between everything. But that was the aha moment, man. I was like, you know what? Then I started getting mentors in business space, not real estate. Real estate to me, you need both. You need business and you need real estate, if you ask me. The most millionaires, if you look up the data, 90% is done through real estate. And most billionaires are done through business. So you need a blended balance, then real estate offset taxes and everything else. So it's a good mixture. But I started really having an aha moment, back to your question, was I was like, man, I'm actually running a business. You know, not just real estate. It's like a good merger between the two. Then when I started getting mentors in the business space that's worth hundreds of millions, it was like, no, you should do it like this. I would never sold that. You could do this with that. So I was like, okay. So then that's when I started ramping things up.
Why because the interesting part about, like, especially with like small multifamily, right? And we've had that conversation all the time. But it's real estate is just like the ownership and the investing piece.
Yeah.
But I think on all assets, like the moment that you stepped into real estate, you are stepping into a business and it needs to be ran as such.
Oh, of course.
Which a lot of people fail at, because closing the deal, being the person that just gets the mortgage or whatever the case, closes the deal, is a totally different personality than what it takes to actually run the business.
Right.
Two very different things. And I learned that very quickly in landlording, because I sucked as a landlord. Not as a, you know what I mean? I was great at buying deals and opportunities. Yeah. But sometimes you got to drop the hammer. I got too much of a heart. And then all of a sudden, like, you know what I mean? Yeah. So you try to be fair but firm. But all that to say that when you getting around those individuals in which are now it pointed a lot more of a focus and a spotlight on the business aspect, did you start to, I don't want to say forget about real estate, but did you kind of like leave that to the side, or was that like, no. I'm going to try to combine the two and only combine the two, or did you know what I mean? Like what?
Yeah. It's a good, man, listen, that's another good question, man. I mean, you need both. You need both. Yeah. So me personally, I like businesses that have real estate attached to it. So like, for instance, if I'm gonna go into the franchise business, which by the way, I have a few of those that's about to be under contract. Right. So so if I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna make sure it's real estate attached to it. Some people would just buy the franchise business itself. I'm not doing that. Because let's say you take out a loan, you can't get that creative, you gotta take out a loan. Anything happen in business. Let's say it go bust, you don't have no tangible assets. So you still have a loan obligation you got to pay for. So with that being said, no, got to be both. So if I'm about a business, give me the real estate too. Or if it doesn't have real estate, I'll probably just do a quick flip on it. Just like real estate, you could do quick flip on businesses too.
And last question before we switch to John, are you completely done with real estate from a cash flow perspective? Meaning, you're like, okay, the real estate got to be attached, but is that for the investment piece, or are you still into, say, quote unquote, mixed use, where you're relying on residential tenants or even short-term tenants as your cash flow machine, or are you mainly focusing on the businesses for that cash flow aspect of it?
Mainly focusing on the businesses for the cash flow of it. But if we wanted to do a asset type, and I throw it out there and tell which my favorite asset in real estate, which I think everybody should really look into, is single tenant real estate. Nobody is talking about it. And it will always be a hot thing because, number one, that's true passive income in real estate. Real estate and passive income don't mix. It don't. There's no real passive income in real estate.
Right.
Business,
and we're not talking about single families.
No,
right?
we're not talking about single families. No.
Oh, okay.
I was about to say single tenant.
Okay.
Yeah, single
Commercial.
tenant. Yes, commercial. And I mean by that is Wendy's, the Burger King, the McDonald's,
the triple net leases.
The triple net leases. Yes,
that makes sense.
Let's explain to the viewers what is the triple net lease.
Yeah, so the triple net lease is the net of taxes, maintenance, insurance that the tenant is paying. So you pay nothing. Now it's something called a quadruple net. Right, which is they pay the taxes, maintenance, insurance, and the structure, the roof, foundation. So you can have that as well. But if it's a triple net, so if it's a triple net, they usually pay that. Then the landlord is just responsible for the structure, which the structure usually nothing goes wrong. Now the good thing about that is not uncommon to have a tenant sign a 5, 10, 15, 40-year lease. Government tenants usually sign 40 to 50 year leases, so that's not uncommon. Right. So, in this type of real estate is nothing for you to do. You just need to buy it at a decent cap rate to make sure it oversees and supersedes debt service. And then you got cash flow. That's it. That's true mailbox money.
Debt service, yeah.
Yeah, that's true mailbox money. But the tricky part to that is you can't buy it super stabilized. And what I mean by that is if you're buying at a 6 cap, 5 cap, extremely low, you're not going to make that much cash flow.
Right.
You need to buy it at an 8, 10. 12 if you could, ideally, which can be tough. My methodology around that is how my mentor told me. You buy it or get it under contract when it's vacant, right? It's already going to be a 10, 12 cap. You put it at 10 in there, now it's automatically a 6. So the minute you close, it's going to be worth $500,000 plus. Easily, day one.
Buying a particular structure without a tenant in it.
Yeah, without the tenant, yeah.
Gotcha, because obviously there's no cash flow coming in.
Mm-hmm.
So you said you focus on buying franchises now attached to real estate. Aren't most franchises, like you said, they rent and buy do triple net leases for other landlords, or are there franchises out there that actually own real estate, like smaller companies?
Now, some of them, the smaller companies, they own real estate too. Like for instance, I'm not gonna go too deep into it because it's about to close soon. But we're buying a master franchise company, franchisor, not franchisee. Okay. So I'll be the franchisor. We're the franchisor. So
you're taking over the ownership of the actual what you can do with the franchise.
Exactly. And they lease it out to the franchisees.
Got it. Which so they own the real estate.
Right. So it's just like McDonald's.
I was just gonna say that.
Yep.
Is I won't go into
I'm not
about to I'm not gonna go into the details. I'm not going to you should have been at CRE Live, but now I'm playing with you. But should have been at CRE Live.
Coming soon next year.
That's the McDonald's one. That with the
yes. It's just when you got 13 locations. I could go into those smaller details. When you got 13 locations, it's not gonna close as quick. You know, you got due diligence, appraisals, phase ones, and all that.
But it was the same. But just as far as it's the same deal. That one that you put up there.
Yeah, it's probably about to close.
It was amazing. Like it really goes to show like just the power of when you're doing those types of deals. They're generationally changing, obviously.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's best of luck to the rest of the transaction. Close it, get it done. Because I would love to bring y'all back. For another episode to run through it, and because that's major stuff right there. Go ahead. Sorry.
So, how do you find these deals now? How do you take your knowledge from like the smaller wholesaling into like the bigger businesses, the bigger acquisitions, all that good stuff?
You know, the funny thing is nobody calls businesses. Everybody calls real estate.
Oh, it's so easy.
And it's very simple. And you see what I'm talking about. It's it's very simple. You literally just call them and see, build some rapport and see if they want to sell. They don't get these calls. Never. That's the crazy thing about it. They don't get these calls. So
has somebody called to call sell your business? To buy your business?
Yeah.
You in business?
Yeah. Yep. It's literally that simple. Huh? Yeah, it's that simple. And then I think people overcomplicate it because then it's like, okay, well, what happened next? And but you just got to take it a step at a time. Build rapport first. Then after the rapport is done, then you just get the, obviously the rent rolls if it's some type of something attached to it, or if it's not, then you get the profit and loss statements and everything else attached with the business. But yeah, it's pretty simple, man. Nobody is calling businesses. That's like your common daily, let's say, because there's real estate attached. You go in there and say, hey, I know you've been around since I was a kid. You think about selling? And then they say, oh, well, yeah, I actually am. I'm thinking about retiring. It's the same thing. Still a business. Still got real estate. Mm-hmm. Same thing.
Do you look for certain parameters, like they've been in business for a certain amount of time? Can you see what type of revenue they have, or do you focus on certain type of businesses?
Yeah, for me, my metrics usually dial down every time because every Sunday, and I can throw out my playbook. Every Sunday, I do a deep dive on my infrastructure, and I kind of hone in and keep honing in and keep tweaking, and have good mentors that I can call for questions. And so for something like that, it has to meet a 500-ish minimum EBITDA. And EBITDA means earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, in automation in business. So it has to meet that minimum now. Before it wasn't like that. It was like, I get at a super deep, discount. I could get flexible, 200. But the problem with that is you running a business. And now you're going to find yourself running a job if it's not covering too much because you're going to be too involved. Mm-hmm. So, I don't want those headaches. So I kind of up that net profit margin. And then now, if you're talking about group homes, my minimum is, I think you were speaking about that, is like 20 beds is usually the good sweet spot. Okay. Because I used to play around with the 10s, the 12s, the 16s.
You said 20 beds.
Yeah, 20 beds, yeah.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm. So the problem with the 16s and everything, when you have, let's call it 4 residents that call out, you kind of almost about to break even. May still be positive cash, positive cash flow, but then you still kind of breaking even in a way. And then if you have a couple staff calling out, now you find yourself running a job. So now I see 20, 30, the bigger it is, the deal, which is the funny part. I never realized that when I first started. The bigger the deal is, it's actually easier to do. Much easier. You can actually get credit lines, PE meaning private equity, that can help you do the deal as long as you're bringing something to the table. You get real good connections. So for instance, I'm doing a deal in South Jersey that I've been working off of, 2 years. 7 different sellers. So that's never fun. And they're never on the same page. Which one?
Inheritance?
No, not inheritance. They want to sell, but they're never on the same page. It's a 500 bed facility.
500. Oh, okay. Yeah. So 7 owners.
Yeah, 7 owners. Yeah.
Okay.
And they're never on the same page. Now they're getting on the same page, but it's just one of those things where I made 2 phone calls and 2 people, private equity wise, they went in.
Right.
So I just got to get the numbers down from their end because they too floppy. So it's one of those things. But that portfolio, let's say, speak positive affirmations, that closes. I have a $180 million portfolio just in New Jersey, not excluding my other stuff.
Right.
So, something like that where it's bigger to do those deals, enough cash flow to distribute to silent partners and everything like that. And my only exception would be if it's lower than 20 beds, it has to have a government contract. Because I know how to tweak certain government contracts where they could do reevaluation of residents, which I just kind of threw out a hint of one things I do. And then from that, when they kind of retweak and they come out there and they say, oh, this resident was here for 25 years. The same owner don't know that 25 years ago, they was getting $35,000 for that resident, which is great. Don't get me wrong. But now that same client that came in that was walking, now they're in a wheelchair. You can actually bill for that because that's additional services.
Right.
So, we do the that's what we call it, reevaluation of the contract. And they come back out there. So now when you close, in your mind, okay, you getting $3,500. I could possibly get 10, 15, 17,000 for that resident just by doing reevaluations.
And that's per month.
Yeah, for that one resident.
The government's
so that's
where our money taxes are going. That's where our taxes are going.
No, they give it a lot of money. I mean, again, man, it's it's Section 8 on steroids. I mean, we already see it on a real basic level. So like, why would it not be on the higher scale, right? Like it's
the funny thing, real
quick?
It's
a lot.
The funny thing is Section 8. I compared that, right? I get that question a lot. Is it like Section 8? No, it's way better than Section 8.
On steroids.
You know why? Because number one, Section 8, some tenants, which can be true, they don't pay for anything. Some tenants. But then that's usually the worst tenants. Usually, not always the case, but for residents, they don't pay for anything. That's the first thing. The second thing is you can there's no endless stopping to do a reevaluation of contract. You just billing. You just keep doing billing. So usually the government, though, it doesn't matter where you're at in the world, they usually pay you bi-weekly, so twice a month. I'm sorry. So if that's the case, you can keep billing for those cycles. Keep billing and reevaluating. So if the new surveyor coming out there and saying, oh, last week you didn't do this, but this pay period you had to do X, Y, and Z. Oh, okay, we can see why you want to bill for higher rate. So you can't do that with Section 8. You only can do yearly increases for what the market does in a certain percentage.
Just a lot more quicker.
Yep. So that's the cool thing with government contracts. But if it's something lower than 20 beds, it has to be government contracts for me because I know I can probably do some tweaks with the contract.
So for government, is it like VA specifically, or is it?
No. So they have, so that's another good one. So you do have veteran programs, but if you go on sam.gov, which that's where you can go to and apply for contracts and all that stuff, but you can get a contract through there, which is the federal government. You have state governments like Ohio. I was looking at Ohio. Ohio has something called RSS, which is Residential State Supplement Program. So that's another contract. And then the last one will be like a county contract, which that one is really good because they get their money from the federal government. So you can get on that, and you have to be registered with sam.gov, which if you are, you should be ahead of the game and get your 2 things you need. Your unique identifier number and you need your cage code. When you get those 2, you can start applying for contracts. So people should probably start doing that now.
Got it. So that's like if you want to host or take in new residents.
Not even new residents if you want to apply for contracts, specifically contracts. And then the contract would tell you what's needed. So they give you a summary, description, and all that stuff. Yeah. Okay. And what's needed. And if you meet that criteria, you bid right and all of that, you get the contract, you good. Now, one last thing about contracts. The beautiful part about it is, let's say You went through sam.gov and everything is great. Once you get the contract for residents, I've seen it goes annually. So you don't have to keep like worrying about a expiration of like, okay, this is a deadline. We only need something for 1 year, something like that, or like a typical contract, or 5 years. It keeps renewing annually. As long as you're doing what you got to do at the facility, it keeps renewing. It's nonstop. So that's the beautiful part about it.
Because I do want to touch on the business stuff a lot, but because
that's fine.
But because this is the real estate blueprint podcast, we'll let's stay on the real estate and then we'll bring it more into straight business. So most of the listeners, right, we and including us starting off, small multifamily, regular residential tenants, so on and so forth, getting cash flow, appreciation, X, Y, and Z, which was cool years ago. And then now, unless somebody really has a plan residential wise, 4 units under wise, I even probably would go on to say, because to your point, like just with the money that comes in, it just doesn't, it's tight.
Yeah.
I'd probably say even 16 units and under, because that's, that's four families, right?
Yeah.
Most of us started in that particular category, and the cash flow was great years ago. The cash flow was great because it was a game changer. That was our first step into some form of passive income, even though you worked for it.
Yeah,
some form of passive income, and then you get used to that, right?
Yeah.
You get used to that, and then, but at the same time, expenses keep creeping up, especially in New Jersey. Expenses keep creeping up, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Staying on real estate. That's multifamily. A lot of people that are listening are also in that same space where they started off in multifamily, bought their first one, second one, so on and so forth, and now they're looking for that next, thing. Which at the time of this particular recording, crypto is doing extremely well, right? And investors are always looking for different places to maximize their return.
Yeah,
going into the group home space, or I'll say, actually, let me back up. I won't group home, because group home is a subset, but assisted living space is basically the same thing as multifamily, but obviously on a more business aspect, where you're providing a slightly different service than just affordable housing, in the state.
Yeah.
Run through the different subsets of assisted living for people that are looking to get into the space, or looking to maybe get into a place where they can get a little bit more cash flow. Just run through just assisted living just in a nutshell. And then we'll dive deeper into that, because we kind of started in the middle.
Okay.
But just so we don't lose anybody, just run us through that.
Yeah, for sure. So I classify it all as group homes, honestly. I classify them all as group homes. And the reason being is this. People will just say assisted living or group homes, which is essentially the same thing. And the reason being is because group homes, if you look at the definition of assisted living and group homes, is congregate living of people that need daily assistance.
Oh.
That's really what it is. And
I thought group home was just for like the seniors.
Yeah, exactly. So they're all seniors. They're all seniors. Now, group homes, some of them can be young. Some of them can be young, and that's where you differentiate the two, because it's demographics.
Okay.
So assisted living, you will really be catered to people with Alzheimer's, dementia, elderly population, 55, 65 plus.
Right.
Only that. That's all they're doing.
Right.
Group homes can be children, people age out of foster care, veterans. It can be all of that stuff. So I honestly classify them all as group homes. They all the same thing.
Okay. All right, got you. Okay, so I didn't want to confuse anybody. So then group home, residential assisted living. Just bring us through the various subsets of that, because you mentioned halfway house. You started to go into some of those.
And what's the most lucrative one?
What's the most? I get that question too. Funny, I did a video, Instagram reel, like a few months ago on that, just from doing some more research. So let me answer that question first.
Okay.
So the most, I would say, one that gives you the most bang for your buck would be developmental disability, because you usually can get government contract with that. I usually see them paying $10,000 plus per resident. Assisted living is very good as well too. I would throw in there. I would give you my top 5, honestly. I would throw in there behavioral health facilities. I would throw in there veterans. And the last one, y'all hit me with the tough questions. The last one I will probably throw in there is like an IDD autism.
Okay.
The reason
But that
being
wouldn't
is
fall under like behavioral developmental?
no, because behavioral health, you have its own contracts with that. That could mean mental illness. It could mean a whole lot of different things.
Okay.
But like New Jersey, for instance, you have waivers that you can apply for IDD, DD, so it's a different category. Now, the problem with New Jersey is everybody knows they move very slow. So, I mean, it is what it is. Nothing you can do about that. But the upside to that is you only need one home to change your life. So let's say somebody was just to apply and magically it goes through in New Jersey. People don't know it. For autism, for certain autism and IDD that an individual can have, let's say your only home, you can typically make $800,000. Let's go on the low end, 400 to 800, depending on the severity of the resident for the year. You just do divided by 12 to see how much per month. But you can typically have 6 to 8 residents, but that's all you need. 6 to 8, 800, do 800 times 4. That's 2 million. Something like that, right? So then from there, I mean, that's all you need. One home. One home will make you over 100,000 net a month. I have many friends that's killing it. I'm gonna give you another one. Oh, I would even throw in there dialysis because it's so many of them you can do. I have a friend. I'm about to buy it from her because I told her don't throw it out there. Let me be the buyer. And so me and her got cool. She's in Houston, and she has a dialysis home. Dialysis pay $1,000 a day. She got 12 residents. Do the math.
All right, so here's the thing, right? Okay, right now, okay, no, okay, no. Here's the reasons why, right?
Yep.
Here's the reasons why, and I'm as I ask this question, the cool part about it is that the same question is going to be split because I'm going to tap into the skepticism that most of the listeners are going to have. But then at the same time, I'm gonna, as a partner, I'm here to tell you like, no, these numbers are not off, right? So like, you know what I mean? So, but for the listeners to get this, like their skepticism answered. All right, 10. You're talking about 1,000 a day. You're talking about for, I think you mentioned either behavioral or one of them, but like $10,000 a month, right?
Yeah.
What is the money going towards? Like that it will require so much.
Yeah, so it's don't keep in mind it's a business. So you have services along with that. So it's not like, okay, I'm making $1 million a month, I'm gonna keep $1 million. No, it don't work like that. So that's you got your gross revenue, which is usually called top line revenue, and then you have your COGS, which is your cost of goods sold, right? Cost of goods sold, and that's your expenses. So then you have that, and your expenses is your staff, what's required with the staff. Maybe it's some one-on-one attention that's needed. So of course you gotta. It's gonna be more hand holding for the resident, but it's gonna cost you more. But you'll still make a good net profit. Right. So in that example, let's just say. Because she has, I'm just trying to give you some real numbers if I remember. I think she has 6 residents there. She's licensed for 12, but she says she's not going to do all 12. She probably do like 8 residents or something like that. So let's just say the 6 times 1,000 a day. What's that? 30,000 times 6. That's 180,000 a month.
And I was thinking about it,
and they live there.
Yeah, they live there. Yeah.
And it kind of and like I said, I asked that question for the guests, but I remember when we first going through, and I was like, why would they? And I think about it, and it's just like caring for an individual is very, very, very expensive.
Yeah, it is.
Right? It is like where you're you know what I'm saying? And you're taking care of everything to the point where they do not have to lift a finger the entire month. Yeah. Like, what does that cost? And you're like,
think about it too, right? Think about this for instance. Why you think home health aid companies are around for so long? They care for individuals. That's their business model. They deploy CNAs, home health aides, like bona fide people, healthcare professionals that go out into the homes and provide a service. That's what they do. Because that person can't do everything on their own. Right. Now imagine a person that's so severe like a dialysis, IDD, DD, behavior health that's so erotic, I need extra assistance, day-to-day assistance, and that extra support is going to cost. So that's why healthcare in general, would never go out of business.
No.
You know,
Especially
AI,
the way
don't matter what
we eat in
AI is
US.
doing.
Not in America.
Yeah, not in America. Yeah, don't matter what AI is doing, and don't matter what none of that stuff is doing. Is healthcare, and that's why I'm sticking with it. Everybody always asks. I think me and you spoke a lot about it. Like, you know, what you gonna do? I was like, group homes, because it makes no sense for me to do nothing else. You know, I know the business very well. I've been doing it for over a decade, and then from there you just keep scaling. So
a decade already?
yeah, it's been a decade. Yeah.
Since we
You started group homes when I got into real estate?
that was the single family, the first house, right?
Yeah, but before then I was doing some smaller stuff, and then that's when me and you linked up.
Okay.
You know, before that. So from there, yeah, it's been a decade. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you okay, so somebody getting started, right? Somebody getting started.
Nah, I just remembered. How easy, how tough is it to get these? I know we were making a whole bunch a day.
Yeah.
For our listeners.
Yep.
How tough is it? I know you said New Jersey's backed up.
Yeah.
What would you need for something like a dialysis?
I mean, you know,
house?
the funny thing is, man, you know, people will go and explore information, like, all right, let me learn it and do it from the ground up. I would never do that. And I did both. I would never do that. The reason being, there's nothing wrong with learning, right? I'm not stopping that. But you can buy existing revenue. That's another aha moment I had.
Okay.
You know, when I started doing this stuff, at one point I had 13 halfway houses in Newark, just in Newark. And I was doing very creative stuff, you know, with the wholesaling, you know, saving as much money as I can and all that stuff, leasing some homes lease options. But the interesting thing, I was like, you know, it is a lot of work. It is a lot of work. So it's not like it's, you know, you wake up one day, you're going to be making all this money. You got to put in the work for it, just like anything else. But it's easier to buy existing revenue. And I tell everybody this, but nobody is doing it. It's so easy to buy existing revenue. You have the government giving out billions to buy businesses. Now they have a program, and I'm going to even throw out a cheat code for people that want to get into business buying. SBA have something called a management buy-in. It's not even on their website.
Management buy-in. So you just run the business?
No. So here's the thing. You can buy into a company just like you can buy out.
You can just buy into somebody's like equity position.
Yeah, equity position
Through SBA loan.
Yeah, through SBA loan.
If there's no real
of course,
estate
you got
attached, it's 10 years.
It's different terms because they do got the different products. Like they got the 7A and they got the 504. But it's different. Like, of course, you got to meet their criteria. They got to look at your taxes and all that other stuff. So it is a lot that come with SBA. But it's also a lot of good that come with SBA.
I call the FHA of businesses.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
what I call it.
Exactly. So
They're basically being Shark Tank.
yeah, and they smart with it because
Good point.
They're basically being Shark Tank.
that's true. And it's good for people because what if you don't want the whole company? You know, a lot of people don't. You know, their business model is, let me take 20%. You keep the 80. Let me just get 20%. And it's very smart, by the way. I have a lot of those type of deals where I don't want the whole thing. Because it's like this. No matter how much I learn group homes or no group homes, if I'm going into a new state, this person owned this group home for 10 years. Why would I want 100% of it? They know how to run it. They know how to run it better than me, most likely. Now, I may know more tweaks, but that's where the partnership forms because now you get 20%. I got 20%. I gave you some money to buy in. Now, let me help you tweak it and scale it and throw it in my portfolio. So now instantly, by association, the value becomes higher because you're combining that 80% with the rest of my portfolio. Now that valuation is probably 6x or something like that versus just a 2x sale. You know, so that's the difference between business buying versus just real estate, where you got to go for appraisals and go off of like sales comps or something like that.
Are you doing any are you completely done with like small residential? Like if somebody brought you a deal for an amazing 4-family right now, are you taking it down? Okay, he laughed. No, never mind. He laughed. Never mind. All right, next question.
I consult.
Yeah, that's right. That's what. Yeah. No. Put like this, man. Okay, so all right. The reason. Okay.
Yeah.
Staying on the how we doing? Okay. We're doing that around time because I want to finish this part real estate wise because I want to dive straight into more into the business aspect. If anybody was thinking about starting a group home, let's just say here in New Jersey, and group homes come in different facility structures. It doesn't necessarily have to be your, big commercial space facility. You can do this right in a residential single family home. Can you do that in multifamily as well?
You can, but you would be excluding yourself to a lot of different things. What I mean by that is a lot of steps and different things like that. So from an ADA compliance standpoint, you know, it's like, would you really want to reconfigure this whole building or whatever the case may be?
Okay, that's what it is. They won't. Okay, because I'm just thinking of it just from if you had a 4-unit and 2-bedroom each unit, like, you know, does that
now that'll fall under? You can do what's called an unlicensed group home. That's very popular. People do that all across the country. I started off doing that too, where you don't necessarily have that license for like a DD or whatever, but you have people that's maybe suffering from mental illness or something like that, and you don't do no care. You just provide a service, which is the real estate. You provide in the shelter. That's what I mean by service. Your service is the shelter, and you outsourcing that to caseworkers. So then the caseworkers send you people, and that's sort of like a rooming house, right? Where a rooming house is very big in Jersey. In New York, it's called a SRO, single room occupancy. So it's very big, and you have to really nail down on the people that's coming in. And you have organizations that you can actually take the whole home and then they'll lease it from you. So that I did that a few times as well too in New Jersey.
Can you get contracts with those?
Yeah, you get contracts. Yeah,
even with the unlicensed group homes.
Yeah, you get contracts. Not government contracts, but your main contracts will be from nonprofits. That's where your main contracts.
Understood.
Yeah,
makes sense. Yeah. Damn. Quick sidebar.
Yeah.
In those cases, from multifamily, for the landlords. Are there any cases where, God forbid, you now have a squatter? Like, how does that, like, because God forbid, you know, because they're not paying rent per se, but like,
the way you write it up is not as in a tenant, they're a resident. So they still treat it like a facility. And the secret sauce to it is they have to have a caseworker. You read the same contract to the caseworker. They look at the agreement. Well, I keep saying contract, but agreement that you would give to a licensed facility. Now they sign off on it, residents sign off on it, whatever the case may be. Something happens with the resident, I call the caseworker, you have to come remove your client. It's not working out. They're not following rules. You have the whole thing is still there. House rules, policies, and procedures. You're doing the same thing, but you're just not licensed because you're not providing staff. You're not feeding. You're not doing none of that. You're just providing the real estate.
Just housing.
But you're running it just like a licensed facility by having the documents.
And what's the estimated room that they're paying in Jersey? Let's say Essex County.
Jersey went up a little bit. It's not a lot, but some places you can get 1,000 a bed or something like that.
So you could have multiple beds in one room.
Yeah.
1,000. Okay, 1,000 a bed per month. And then if you take one particular bedroom, you have 2 bedrooms in there. I'm sorry, you have 2 beds.
2 beds in a room. Yeah.
2 beds in a room. Okay, so 2 bedrooms in each bedroom. All right, so 2,000 a month per. Okay, so I can see why like the unlicensed versus.
Let me tell y'all a cheat code though. The funny thing is, because I'm still trying to look for one in Jersey, and relative, I'm wait till it's done, and then I'll put the pictures up online and stuff. Relative of mine, actually my uncle, he bought a homeless shelter in Newark, and I'm gonna go check it out actually while I'm here. But that's the cheat code that everybody should start looking at. Actually,
I'm not surprised.
And the reason being is because the homelessness everybody knows is just out of control.
And nobody wants the homeless, so they will do anything to try to keep. And it's just one.
There you go.
It's a never-ending cycle of.
And the funny thing is, I can tell his numbers. He bought a commercial building in Newark, for $250. For $250, it's worth over $1 million.
I'm not surprised.
He doing some reno that's required. It's nothing too strenuous along with the building. The state is gonna pay him $3,000 a person. It fits over 150 people in there. People don't realize a homeless shelter you can have. It's not uncommon. I won't never say jam-pack people in there just for money. Make sure people comfortable. You still provide a nice qualified service. But you can typically have 8 people into a dormitory area. That's not uncommon for a homeless shelter.
Right.
So let's say you wanted to go crazy. You're doing extra stuff. You could do 3,000. You can do the math right now. What's 3,000 times 150 people?
Well, I mean, that's 300,000. So
450.
yeah,
3,000. No, it's 4.5.
No, it's way more than that. What
was that? 45 now? 4.5.
Let's do the math right now.
I already had you at 300,000, right? So like I'm good. You know,
3,000. You said 3,000 times 150.
Yeah, times 150 for homeless shelter.
Yeah, so it's
450.
3,000 times 150. 450,000.
A month.
Yeah. A month.
Now here's the crazy thing with homeless shelters. You don't have crazy expenses.
Because you just providing the shelter.
There you go.
But-
so they
what
are
I've
free to
heard-
come in and out as they please.
Yes.
But you have a curfew. It's usually like 10 p.m. or something like that.
But if they're not back, don't you have to send your people to get them or something like that?
Yeah, it's
I
certain
feel like
certain stipulations like that, but
I'll figure
you're not-
it out for
you're not like-
$350,000 a
Yeah,
month. Like,
yeah, you're not-
I'll figure it
Yeah,
out. We'll
like,
figure
you know-
it out.
myself.
We'll figure for $350,000 a month. We'll figure it out, bro. I'm pretty sure we'll be all right.
it's always was like, even when I first started,
Start tracking them.
oh yeah.
I put the pad, what is it called? The tag, the Apple tags on them.
Oh my gosh, man. You didn't mention the Apple tag.
You gonna tag your people? You gonna tag your residents? Like, oh no, we got another one loose. got another one
I'm gonna get a
loose.
first violation the first month.
He's out
On the
again.
Oh
news,
my God.
the homeless shelter
Listen.
tagging.
Willie's out again. Go get that boy. Go get that boy.
Yeah, but it's really just about doing what's different than what everybody else is doing. And that's usually where you're gonna make a lot of your money at.
Bro.
You know, when people was like, hey, you should do, perfect example, during the pandemic, you know, a buddy of mine in New Jersey as well too. He was like, hey, how your stuff doing in Jersey, the rooms and stuff like that? I said, oh, it's doing fine. Everybody's paying still. Oh yeah, man, I gotta go through so many evictions now. People stop paying. I'm like, I don't know what you want me to tell you.
Right.
You know, I do feel bad,
Right,
but you
right.
know, but it was a thing of like, I got all these units and stuff. I'm like, I'm not chasing units. I'm chasing beds. You know,
Right.
so the amount of beds
What was
that it
his
take
properties
me.
at?
His properties around here, like
Oh,
the
okay.
North,
got you.
Irvington and stuff like that. And a lot of people stopped paying though, man. I actually feel bad for him. I could tell you it was over 10 properties where people stopped paying.
Just regular tenants.
Yeah, regular tenants, yeah.
No, it's
And that was the
advantage,
heart
man.
of the COVID. That was the heart of COVID.
yeah.
Yeah.
No,
People
it was
taking
nasty.
advantage. Yeah.
No, it was nasty. Which is why I mean, tenants wound up making it nothing but harder for themselves because now like landlords are so stringent.
the
You know,
crazy
they're
thing,
so
this-
stringent.
Price went
This
up.
was
because-
before-
Rightfully so.
The unforbearance, you know, the forbearance thing.
Oh,
That was before that. So I was like, yo, you have to still pay that mortgage.
Yep.
What can you do?
So taking a single family, how we do it? So taking a single family,
Yeah.
if somebody just found a regular single family in the neighborhood, wherever they're at, and obviously the current owners are going to be moving out, can they
Yeah.
just turn to 4-bed, 2-bath? Can they just turn that into a facility themselves? What do they have to? Because they can just buy the FHA, low down payment, 3% conventional,
Yeah.
and then.
Whoa.
If it's FHA, you got to live in there.
You gotta live in it.
But they can,
That's
even if
how
they
I-
choose to live in it.
Yeah, that's how I did my first one. I took the basement.
Okay.
Yeah, so they just have to live in it, right? So like even if so yes, you got 4 bedrooms. Yeah. You got 4 bedrooms, you live in 1 bedroom. And then the other 3, you are setting that up for for assisted living.
Yeah.
You're able to do that. What if you're unlicensed, do you just set up shop right there and just start contacting those nonprofit entities?
Case
Yeah, you
workers.
can. Yeah, you can. Now the crazy thing is Jersey. I think it is 3 residents. I got to look at that again. It actually is called ADLs, which is assisted daily living. That's what it's called. Where the state can pay you, but you don't need a license for assisted living because you don't have that many residents. You don't need a sprinkler system. You don't do anything. You just caring for. I think it's no more than 3, or it's no more than 5. It's one of them numbers. I don't want to tell the wrong number. But yeah, it's called assisted daily living. People can look it up.
Interesting. Okay, so not more. Okay,
ADLs.
so once you
Yep,
once you
ADLs.
cross 3, then or 3 or 5, whatever that number is, that's when you start to get like all the commercial,
Yeah.
and all that
You
other
just
stuff.
set up shop, 3 here, 3 here, 3 here, and
Nah,
or
well,
is it not worth it? Because
Yeah, I think it's the whole number itself for the whole home. That's if you taking
Oh,
in
the number,
yeah, if you're providing that healthcare service. That's if you're doing that.
right?
But if you're not providing a service and is let's say somebody that's 50 years old, they just getting sponsored by a, let's call it a nonprofit or something like that. Halfway house, you want to make a halfway house. You want to help people re-enter the community, and they have programs for that. And parole officers are calling you. Yeah, you can do that. You get a contract. You can actually get a contract with DOC if they're still doing it for New Jersey. You get a contract with them. You can even work something out with the parole officers. That's what I was doing. I was hitting them up like crazy.
Right.
Yeah, parole officers and
Follow-up.
probation officers, and they will send you people. You just got to be okay with that if you living in a house,
Of
but
course.
but it's a good way to start. It's a good way to start.
Okay, but you also mentioned that those are they mainly might come with a contract of say $1,000 or so, like, because they're coming from nonprofits, so obviously they're not coming from the government.
If you have a nice size single family home, and if you can somewhat work it out with that nonprofit to take the whole home and let them know the vision, you could set up the next one too. They could probably take the whole home from you and then pay you $8,000 to $10,000 a month
per resident.
No, a month, and you have no expenses, just like a triple net lease. They usually would do like a 3 to 5 year lease.
They're doing the lease. I got you. Okay, I got you. So they're
instead of paying per bed, they take the
whole. They take the whole home.
Got you. Okay. All right. So and then that makes sense on the multifamily level. 4 units and under, you're still in the same thing. Okay. Going into business. So all right. So we're not touching. So we're not. So we're not doing residential. Real estate anymore on that particular level. Magic Johnson said it best, and he's just like, yo, listen. At one point, like the deals were here, and I was doing deals here, and I got to do deals up here. So if the conversation's not up here, then like respectfully, it's not worth it. And at some point, it doesn't even it's not even about the money. It's about like playing the actual sport of business.
Of course.
You know what I mean? So it's just like, but like, you know what I mean? Like if I'm already in the league, like don't have me go back to AAU. That doesn't make any sense.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
True.
So I got you. All right. So no more residential tenants, none of that anymore. Did you have a portfolio that you sold off completely?
Yeah, I got rid of all that stuff. I got rid of all that, man.
So what do you say to the people that are holding and are like, no, we are multifamily real estate homeowners and we're going to own this until perpetuity?
Yeah. I mean, I will always say it's no right or wrong way. That's the beautiful part about it. It's just, for me, I found a niche that I was like, okay, I can scale more and it makes more cash, but it's no right or wrong way. Now, if that works great for somebody, great. But if you want to scale up and you're like, okay, before I sell, I'll always tell people, have a strategy. Yeah. Before you sell, know what you want to get into next. Because people don't realize, they just hear the word 1031, which I had to coach a lot of people through the 1031, where they tell you, oh yeah, just 1031 and roll the proceeds over. Okay. Now you under the gun.
Listen.
Where you want to buy stuff at? In 45 days. Do you even know how to source a deal? So then they don't realize, like, okay, people help you find deals. Some people want equity and all of that. Well, now you got to do what's called a TIC, a tenants in common, and get creative. But people don't realize all of this stuff. So you got to do your research first.
Not as easy.
Yeah, it's not as easy, but it can be done. So it's no right or wrong way with real estate, but I always say what's going to get you to that next level, to where you're like, don't get me wrong, not everybody wants to make hundreds of millions. Me, I mean, I'm just going with the flow. I know how to get there. And I will get there. But I'm going with the flow.
That was the most modest way of saying,
listen, your number's not big enough. Well, I had a successful 1031 exchange and I had a not successful one. And I the successful one, I bought and sold at the same time. So it was it was easy. But the second one, I didn't have a plan, but it's just the fact that, like, because NorCal killed my cash flow, which I'll know by the end of next year, I'll know, if that was the best decision. But so far, it's turning out to be like to offload the remaining properties that I did have, and putting them into other things that I'll know by the end of next year if they wind up being fruitful. But it's been pretty well so far. So like. Yeah. At that point, I'm just going to keep it going. But what's if you're not, on the business aspect of it, a lot of people, or, the new sexy thing, like for like us, not us, but for I'm not in that space anymore. For the, because it was wholesaling, then it was, buy multifamily, buy home, right? Is now like the small business lane and niche. Yeah. Not necessarily like, okay, we want to, we're only targeting businesses that are making $500,000 a year. Yeah. Right. What do you say, what's your thought process on that, for like the laundromat or the local landscaping company?
Yeah, I would say, man, it's
that's making $50,000 a year. Yeah,
it's some of them is too small. You're gonna buy yourself a job. It has to make sense. Just like real estate, the numbers got to make sense. But not from that. Where business is different is because you have to really dive deeper than just the numbers. Numbers don't tell you everything to a business.
Right.
You know, it's businesses that look very good, and then you buy it, and it's like, oh, this is really bad. The culture sucks. People quit. You know, so it's way more than just numbers with a business. So you have to look at the whole grand scheme of things. But to your point about laundromats and everything else, I mean, those are all great businesses, but you just have to buy them where they're not too small. That's the issue. People buy them when it's too small. And if it's too small, you're going to start working in it and not on it. So that's the thing. And then I realized that early on.
Right.
I had my fair share when you had to step in and do certain things. I'm like, yeah, no, never again.
So you don't buy anything unless you can put an operator in place, or
if there's no operator, I'm not buying it. Yeah, it's that simple.
Absentee is the way to go.
Yeah, absentee. And it's possible. People think, and it's another thing with business. I think I've seen more than just real estate. Real estate is not uncommon to be an absentee landlord or whatever. Business, people think you have to be there. That is like so far-fetched from the truth. You don't have to be there for a business. You can buy a business halfway in the country, out of the country. I bought a business in Israel. Never stepped foot in Israel a day in my life, and I flipped it already. But it's like, it can be done.
That's insane.
Let's do a deal deep dive. Or actually, I'm sorry, we can't call that a deal deep dive. I think that's the bigger pockets. Like, what's it called? So we're gonna leave that. Okay, we're gonna the just deal analyzer. All right, here we go. As the show gets bigger, we'll have a section for that. All right, so let's talk about that particular deal. You found this deal because obviously that's wild. But so you said where? Israel. Okay, cool.
What kind of business was it?
Group home for sure. Yeah, but over there they call it nursing homes.
Sure.
UK and all that call it nursing homes. It's the same thing.
How do you find this deal?
I was about to say.
Same thing, same methods I use for the US. But I just now have contacts with I'm in a lot of business groups. You know, you pay to get in and all this other stuff, some good money. Now you're networking with people that just they don't buy real estate at all. 9 times out of 10. Some of them just focus on different strategies. And I throw out some verbiages. People could look it up, like roll-ups, IPOs, reverse mergers, different things like that. And
what is it called? The stacking? What is the thing you told me the other day?
Oh, roll-ups.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I'll break that down too. So the roll-up is essentially the art of finding very good deals where they have very good positive cash flow. So these positive cash flow, if you have a deal that's making, let's call it 1 million net profit a year, that's great. But if you sell it by itself, it's probably going to only sell for, let's call it 3 to 4x, probably. Right buyer, they probably going to talk you down. But if you have 3 or 4 of them, now they can potentially sell for 8 to 12x just by merging them together. I'm actively doing that now. Or I may
and do those companies have to have like some type of synergy together, or
yeah, got to be the same. It can't just be like a laundromat, a painting shop. No, it got to be same.
It got to be a laundromat,
industry.
a wash and fold service.
Ideally, your best bet should be all laundromats or all group homes.
Okay, got you.
Now you can do something like a group home, adult daycare center, some centers, some group homes, because they kind of feed into each other. You can cross sell. If you can't cross sell, I would say don't do it, because then it's not gonna sell for much.
Is that your end goal? A big, massive roll up to like a private equity firm?
That I thought I wanted that. I'm toying with myself. Only because I haven't even told nobody this, but it is what it is. I'm thinking about doing IPO for a group home. It's never been done yet. I'm thinking about it. So there's some ways to get on the stock exchange without doing an initial IPO. Some different creative ways I can go about it. And I looked at my portfolio and everything. If I do that, I'll probably worth like $400 million.
That IPO, like is it the owner of that portfolio of those particular group homes? Like just like that? Like is the IPO that would be released is for people to buy into the company that owns all these group homes?
So the IPO is like if people don't know what it is, let me start with that. It's an initial offering, a public offering. So the goal with that is to have a top co. So you got your top co, your top parent company, then you got your subsidiaries, all your group homes, whatever many states it is. And from there, I'll be taking that top co public. And then the goal will be, I don't know if the goal will be to sell shares like on the stock exchange. I got to figure that portion out from people that I know that's already on the stock exchange. So I'm figuring that out, or if I just want to take it all in and just sell it to private equity and do it all over again. I don't mind either one because it's going to be still some good money, but we'll see. But that's what I'm kind of toying around with right now. So I've been selling off some, trying to buy out some partners on some deals and stuff like that. And, we'll see what happens.
besides the food franchise that you're in talks with, and obviously group homes, are you looking at any other particular businesses to purchase? Do you have, if somebody came to you with I don't know, just a digital marketing company that was making the same $500,000 net that you're looking for, are you looking to buy that particular company, or you kind of niche down into strictly the real estate and business component of, like, say, group homes or anything like that?
Yeah, strictly niche down, man. I don't do just any and everything. I do like the franchise model though. I think it's because even just in America, not anywhere else, in America, people love food. It is what it is. I love food. We all love food.
I'm gonna get some food after this.
Yeah. So from a franchise perspective, not necessarily being the franchisee, but if I'm the franchisor, all you got to do is keep expanding and keep growing. And look at McDonald's, man. Look how they started. But now it is a high rate.
Not only food, you could do other stuff. Have you ever thought of possibly doing a franchise of group homes?
Somebody asked me that. The reason why it's too difficult is because it's different licensing per state. So it would be very hard to have like one document, the FDD, which is the franchise disclosure, FD. I think it's called that. Yeah, franchise disclosure agreement.
Oh, and spread across everybody.
Yeah, to spread across different states that have different rules and regulations. So it'd be a little bit difficult. I thought about that, but I don't know, man. It can be, some things can be done, but similar to like a hotel, right? They are a franchise company, but a hotel is very much real estate, very cookie cutter. You can get your specs, you can build it, here's that, and here's my royalties that I need it back. But group homes is really a people business. So I see it's a little bit harder to do franchising when it's a people business like group homes. Now you can franchise like a home health aid company, because the only thing you're doing is sending out staff. But when you talking about servicing the client, I think that's where it gets tricky. I've been toying around with it. I've been speaking with some different attorneys on the idea, but we'll see. I'm not really in a rush.
As we start our descent here, you mentioned that at one point you were thinking about getting into hotels. Is that still I'm
still looking.
Okay,
I'm still
so
looking.
Definitely
I just haven't found the right deal yet, man.
I got you. No. It's a good problem to have, because once it hits, it hits.
Yep.
All right, so now you mentioned niche down, that you were in the focus of niche down, but you picked this particular like food franchise.
Yeah.
Was it because the real estate was attached, or like what made you like this particular, which is totally different, synergy wise?
Yeah, it's true.
From real estate, what made you choose that?
Honestly, man, it's just so many upsides. You got.
And how'd you find that particular deal?
Oh, the partner in the UK already.
Gotcha.
He brought it to me, and then we like, oh, okay, we ran the numbers. Yeah, it looks good. But from that perspective, listen, the deal got to make sense. It made sense. The owners are all in their 70s, 3-4 brothers. And from there, we like, man, they're not doing this, they're not doing that. They got their own sauce they're not selling. They got their own, burgers that they make from scratch, recipes they're not selling. Interesting. And I know in America, it's not hard to put stuff in Walmart and stuff like that. You just write contacts, you can do it, you can sell the sauces and stuff. And then the interesting thing is it's a British brand. I'm not going to say the name, but it's a British brand. So if we bring that brand to America, we may be onto something. People from London and all that stuff, when they come to America, people are always fascinated by the accents and everything else.
And they have something that reminds them of home.
Exactly. So bringing that over here, then it's like, oh, okay, something different. We can sell the sauces, and it's a lot of upside. Then, of course, the purchase price is the main thing. To me, it's super cheap. We buying it for the real estate and the business itself, for less than $7 million. It's like insane to me.
Right.
For 13 locations, it's like, and we had 3 different SEC attorneys. 3 different. They don't know each other. They say if y'all get the PR right and the marketing right, this would be worth over $100 million in 3 years.
Right.
Easy. And so we thinking about if we wanted to take it public or not. So when we buy it, it just depends.
Well, blessings, like I said, blessings to the smooth rest of the transaction. Get that one closed. We'd love to bring you back on the show for that, to go that into depth. Yeah. I'm going to questions. You got anything else?
No, I just want to say what's next for you. Where can people find you? Contact you? Do you do any education to help people get into group homes?
Oh yeah, for sure. So we got something called Group Home Mastery, which now I'm about to really turn it up with Group Home Mastery.
Yep,
I'm bringing my celebrity friends over to the group home space, the ones that's already been in the group homes, and that knows about business as well too. So that's gonna be pretty cool. So we have that's going on. Group Home Mastery, that's where it's at, man. People coming out, they having fun. But yeah, Instagram, Anthony_the investor, LinkedIn, Anthony Lawson, and then Facebook, Anthony Lawson. So, and then what's to come from that is I didn't really realize real quick that so many people were interested with networking on that Hollywood level. So I said, you know what? If I could bring some Hollywood contacts to the group home space, and then that last one we had was in Dallas, which is October 4th. Man, that was a great event, man. You know, had celebrities come out. We was on a yacht at the conference and everything. And then some people from Group Home Mastery came out.
Nice.
And pulled me to the side. Best conference, hands down. You know, so I'm going to be doing more of that. And the next names, I throw a few out there. I don't know which one yet. But we might have 50 Cent come out or Tyler Perry. Well, if I could get both of them out, that'd be great.
I'm there.
Yeah, I may even try to get out Eric Trump because that'd be interesting. That'd be interesting. I'm not even a policy person, but that'd be interesting. So yeah, you know, some few names that you know I have ties to that we could see.
And what's the website for the grouphomemastery.com?
Yeah, grouphomemastery.com, or if you hit me up on Instagram, my social media guy, he's the manager for my Instagram. He will contact you back. Yep.
In 1 to 5 word answers, because we gotta wrap up.
Yep.
But there were two things I definitely wanted to make sure. So shout out to Marvin on the production end for letting us rock out. Is there anything with the election now that we're passing, now that Trump has been elected, is there anything that affects the group home space in 1 to 5 words?
Honestly, I would say no.
Okay,
No.
Cool, awesome. Are you still investing in New Jersey, or is everything pretty much, and when I say out of state, meaning like us being in New Jersey, is everything out of state? Or where's the bulk of your search at?
Bulk is out of state, but New Jersey got to be a good deal numbers wise.
Okay.
All of them honestly got to be a good deal numbers wise, but New Jersey, you really got to crunch numbers because everything's so expensive.
And you, because obviously you're in Dallas now, but Midwest and down south.
Oh yeah, all day
okay.
long. Yep.
Gotcha. Perfect. I wanted to make sure that I got those out just for the content piece of it, just to make sure. Listen, Anthony, I hope, listen, anybody that's listening, if anything went over your head or if something just didn't quite connect the dots or anything like that, please make sure to tap in with Ant, because he's a source and a wealth of knowledge that really helps you put things in perspective. And he's one of my rich friends that makes things a little. He's one of my rich things that makes that and when I say rich friend, it's not even like. It's not even about the money aspect of it. It's really honestly just that mindset aspect of it, and making things easy for you to digest as you go to the next level. Because there's always that mental barrier, no matter which level that we're looking to go to that next level. And the same way that Ant surrounds himself with people that he can be like, yo, these are my rich friends, right? That are pointing to him. It's just we keep going down. No, we keep going down the pipeline, right? So anybody that's just getting into this space, we could be a wealth of knowledge for. Anybody that's just getting into the job force, we could be a wealth of knowledge for. So each one teach one, iron sharpen iron. Anthony, I definitely appreciate you taking the time as always. It's nothing but love, considering the fact that you're in the area. So I think John told me yesterday that we were gonna have you today. I was like, yo, it's gonna be lit. So I'm appreciative of you taking the time while you are up here, considering the fact that you're down south now. And listen, everyone listening, be sure to tap in, like, comment, share, subscribe. Let's keep this motion going. This is the Real Estate Blueprint Podcast. I am your host, Austin, aka More Than an Agent, and my Dominicano hermano co-host, John Soto. John does real estate. This is the Real Estate Blueprint Podcast. Signing off.